So today I'm going to tackle the age-old question. Should I focus my life and career on happiness or money? Let's dig into it. If you are in pure survival mode where you have no family support and your ability to live and not be homeless and starve to death depends on that paycheck, then by all means go after the highest paying career you possibly can. It doesn't matter if you're happy because at least you're alive. Now, if you are in a position in life where you're going to be okay, you're not going to starve to death, you're not going to be homeless, right? And you know you have a certain floor beneath which you're not going to fall. Then you have a situation where you have the opportunity to decide, do I want to go after money or some degree of happiness or satisfaction? So let's walk through a couple of options and I'll share with you how I think about them. So one classic option is I'm going to do what I hate, but it pays a lot. I'm going to do it for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. I'm going to retire and then do what I really want to do at some very distant point in the future. And I find this approach doesn't work very well. Or if it does work, it has so many negative mental health consequences along the way. And what you find is, well, this is what I found through the years, is people who have the so-called midlife crisis, this is what they've done. They've pursued a path in life that really didn't mean much to them, but it was hard and it consumed all their energy. And as they hit their 40s and 50s and 60s, they go, oh, is that it? I devoted my life and is that all I get out of it? I'm not really happy with that. So that's sort of one typical path that has lots of problems. Another path is forget about money, go do things that bring you joy. Go, be an artist, go surf for a living, things like that. And these are the kinds of things that my parents told me never do, right? And I think there is a trade-off to that, which is it brings you a lot of joy, but does it pay the bills? And my personal take is I think there is a balance between those two extremes. So the ideal situation is a career path where you earn enough to pay the bills, and preferably more than enough to pay the bills, and you have some degree of satisfaction and joy that you bring to your life. And there's a couple different strategies you can use. So one strategy is you work a very basic job, working 9 to 5, no stress, low hours, and you do things that really satisfy you in the evenings and on the weekends, right? So the example would be an accountant by day and be a rock star by night, right? If music really is your passion. That's one option. And I do see people do that and they're quite happy, right? They're not making the most money in the world. My gosh, they are really happy and satisfied with their life because they're doing what they want and they can make it work financially. So I see those folks having a lot of joy. The other option that I want to talk about is going after a career path that maybe is not the most prestigious, not the highest paying. So foregoing the career investment banking or consulting and taking a job in a different career that you are more excited about, that pays reasonably well, not exceptionally well, but you enjoy it a lot more than a high-paying career that you dislike. And I've seen both these paths in other people, and the career path of going after a career that pays above average, but you like it a lot more. The big advantage of that approach is that when you like something and you find satisfaction in it, you're going to do it more. You're going to work harder because you enjoy it. And as you work harder, you're going to get better and better. So if you're choosing between, let's say, investment banking versus, being an accountant. Let's say being an accountant is really, really exciting for you because that's what you love, right? It's better to be a top 10% accountant than a bottom 10% investment banker. And so you cannot look at career paths and average income in isolation, separate from you and what you personally value. So I will never tell somebody that consulting is the profession you must go after, despite the fact that I work a lot in management consulting, right? It depends on the individual. And so this is something that's very important. When you're making these career choices, the single most important question and to understand is you need to understand yourself. What do you need? What do you want? What makes your life really exciting for you? And it is a subjective decision that's very personal to you. So it's not what your mom and dad think. It's not what your peers think you should do for a career. It's not what media says you should do for a career, but it really comes down to what do you want? And if you're clear on that, there's almost always a way to make it work financially. Again, I want to encourage you to be the top 10% of a field you like, which is better than being the bottom 10% of a field you hate, aren't going to work hard in, aren't going to do well in, aren't going to develop the skills in, and ultimately are likely to get fired. So just keep that in mind as you look at your career options. It's not always so extreme. There's lots of range in the middle. And I think those middle options are ones that usually aren't considered very often.